When I was 7 years old, my older brother, Ben, was busy chasing after some poor kid. Because of that, I ended up getting kidnapped. By the time I finally made it back home, that poor kid had become my stepsister. She was wearing a fancy princess dress and looked at me with disgust, pinching her nose. "She smells so bad," she said. "Does she have some kind of sickness that can spread?" Because she said that, my parents started looking at me differently, and my brother showed nothing but dislike. "Why did you come back to ruin our lives?" he said. That's when I realized that my stepsister was also married to my brother. In that life, I was hurt and tormented until I died by my stepsister, while my parents and brother just watched and did nothing. Then I opened my eyes again, and I was 5 years old. It was the same year that my parents' business rivals decided to target my brother. They planned to kidnap him to force my parents to give in to their demands. This time, I decided to pretend I didn't see anything happening. I thought that my brother, who was useless and always favored, and my parents, who were unfair, could all just disappear. "Little girl," a middle-aged man wearing a baseball cap and a mask said to me with a mean smile. He was holding my brother tightly. My brother was just a child back then, small and not yet mean. He looked at me with fear and begged me with his eyes. His jeans, which had pictures of a cartoon hero on them, were already wet. He had peed his pants. I put on a scared face and nodded my head up and down really fast. The kidnapper seemed happy and took my brother away in a black car. He didn't even bother to hide the license plate. I thought, who kidnaps someone like that? What smells so good? I followed the smell and found myself in front of a small store. I looked at the colorful cotton candy that looked so delicious. Once I got home, holding my cotton candy, my parents were already there, looking confused because they only saw me. "Where is your brother?" they asked. Licking the cotton candy, I said in a cute voice, "I don't know. This is yummy. Want some, Mom and Dad?" They searched the house, then the neighborhood, and when they couldn't find him, they started to panic and called the police. But without security cameras back then, finding the people who took him was almost impossible. The police were puzzled. "It shouldn't happen," they said. "You live in a safe neighborhood." We talked to security, and no one suspicious was seen. My mother fell to the ground, crying loudly, while my father pulled at his hair, looking completely devastated. I sat on the flower bed, swinging my legs, my big eyes watching them without looking away. They looked so sad and upset. So why, in my last life, when they watched me die right in front of them, did they not react at all? My brother's life matters, but mine doesn't? Well, in that case, none of us should have a good life. Missing posters for my brother were put up everywhere. They even appeared on TV, offering a $3,000 reward. In those days, $3,000 was a lot of money. I did wonder if the kidnappers might do something because of the posters. But once the posters came out, I knew my brother wasn't coming back. There was no way they would return him for free. With countless other cases piling up every day, my brother's case was put aside for the time being. In my past life, because I remembered the license plate number, the police found my brother easily. His way of thanking me was to have me kidnapped when I was 7. After all, we were siblings, sharing the same blood. Returning the favor wasn't asking too much, right? I slowly started to show how smart and talented I was. I would sometimes suggest ideas for making money, helping them get over their sadness about losing a son. My father happily ruffled my hair. "Alice," he said, "you're our lucky charm, making us a lot of money." I giggled. "I saw rich people's houses on TV," I said. "They're huge, with pools in front, so grand. Mom, Dad, let's get a big house too. We'd be living among wealthy people. Maybe we could connect with them and make even more money." I heard connections are what matter the most. My words interested my parents. They looked at each other. Now that they had earned enough money to buy a large house, they still missed my brother. What if he came back? They might have thought. I needed to get rid of that thought and completely erase any trace of my brother from their lives. My father nodded firmly. "All right," he said. "Let's listen to Alice. Connections are crucial." The next day, my parents were out looking for houses. They ended up spending a lot of money on a large house downtown, surrounded by very important people. I was cute and polite, bringing homemade cookies from my mother to the houses nearby. Soon, I became friends with the people living there. My parents got a lot of business projects through these connections. Even though the offers weren't very high, they made important connections. Then I suggested, Mom, Dad, you're so busy with work and it's lonely at home. Why not adopt a brother for me? Someone to keep me company. Why a brother? It was about putting someone else in my brother's place in their minds completely. That way, if he ever came back, my parents wouldn't favor him over me and give him all the credit. Absolutely not. My parents loved me very much, so they didn't say no. You can't choose your parents, so even if they are bad, there's nothing you can do. But I could pick this brother, so I had to make sure he was perfect. I hate stupid people, so no idiots allowed. He couldn't be ugly, no way. He had to enjoy eating food. Most importantly, he had to be nice and kind. No more backstabbing brothers. After visiting every orphanage in town, I finally found a boy who was just right. I especially loved the fierce look in his eyes. Having met all sorts of people and seen all kinds of things in my past life, I knew this boy would be hard to control when he grew up. But shaping him now could be very rewarding. My brother got lost, I said to him. Can you be my brother? I pulled out a piece of white rabbit candy and placed it in his thin hand, my voice soft and sweet. I have lots of toys and snacks, and I'm happy to share them. Will you come home with me? No little boy can resist such an adorable kid, and he was no different. He carefully took the candy from my hand without touching me, as if he was afraid of getting my hands dirty. Surprisingly, I just went ahead and held his hand, smiling brightly as I showed him off to my parents. Dad, Mom, I said, I like this brother. My parents were also impressed by how he looked and asked him a few more questions. They liked that he was well-behaved and polite, so they agreed. I gave him a new name, Daniel, because his eyes were beautiful. He lived in the room across from mine, set up just like my room. It was originally meant for my brother, but now it was his. At dinner, he would sit in the spot where my brother used to sit, right below my father. In time, he really did take my brother's place. My parents started bringing him along with them wherever they went. And even when they were talking privately, they would refer to him as our son. At first, Daniel was a bit shy, but with me around, he became more outgoing and confident. But maybe it was because of that first time, when he saw me acting all cute and shy, it really stuck with him. He truly treated me like a little sister, always protecting me. Every night, he would tell me bedtime stories until I fell asleep. He would take the food I didn't like off my plate and eat it himself. If I accidentally bumped into the table, he would look like he wished he could feel the pain for me. In the blink of an eye, I was in high school. Daniel, who was loved and supported, was starting to become very popular too. He couldn't even step into school without causing a stir. Even though he's older than me, we were in the same class, which was both my parents' idea and his. This way, he could look out for me better. Meanwhile, an old acquaintance appeared. Clara, she was my stepsister in my past life and the one who was responsible for my death. She looked so delicate, with an innocent charm and eyes like a doll that seemed to ask for affection. Daniel, look over there at 3 o'clock, I said. See that girl? Isn't she pretty? Daniel followed my gaze to the girl in the white dress with long black hair. Clara. He seemed puzzled and said honestly, not sure. Maybe she's the type guys like. It wasn't just the guys who liked her. My brother was completely crazy about her. He had watched me suffer without doing anything to help me. I licked my lips, asking, do you like that type? A look of disgust crossed his eyes, but he calmly said, I don't like it. I scoffed. Then what type do you like? He glanced down, raising an eyebrow. I like the stubborn, spoiled, unreasonable type, he said. Me. Clara ended up in the same class as me. Not because she passed the test, but because she was given a special entry, basically a scholarship kid. Every year, this fancy school accepts a few scholarship students to show that they are open to everyone, but these kids often get bullied because most of the students are from rich families or are heirs to companies. In my past life, my brother stood by her side, making her feel strong and like she could do whatever she wanted. But this time, my brother wasn't around. I wanted to see how she would manage. The first class was all about introducing ourselves. Everyone stood up one by one and spoke confidently. These were people who were already used to being in the spotlight. They weren't shy at all. When it was Clara's turn, she blushed and fidgeted. I'm I'm embarrassed, she said. The teacher encouraged her with a smile. It's okay, she said. We're all new here. Relax. Let's give her a warm round of applause. Everyone clapped. Daniel noticed I wasn't clapping, so he didn't either. But after 3 rounds of applause, people were starting to get impatient. Clara still hadn't moved, biting her lip, her face getting redder, and tears starting to fill her eyes. What a show-off, someone whispered. After that, everyone started to avoid Clara, finding her annoying. All the crying makes you wonder if someone bullied her, someone said. It's annoying, right? She wasted so much time. I didn't even have time to go to the restroom. It's a pain. Hope I don't get paired up with her. Such terrible energy might mess with my luck. Nobody bothered to lower their voices, so Clara heard everything. She ran to the teacher's office to complain. This kind of behavior might be okay in a regular school, but here in an elite school, it was social suicide. Because Clara has special circumstances, please be understanding and patient with her, the teacher said. Does anyone want to sit with Clara? She's shy, and it would help her get used to the school if someone looked out for her. After waiting for a long time and getting nothing but mocking laughter, the teacher finally asked Clara, "Who do you want to sit with?" At that moment, Clara wasn't shy anymore. Pointing at Daniel, she said, "I want to sit with Daniel." She called him Daniel so sweetly that people might think they were close. The boys snickered, and the girls rolled their eyes in disgust. The teacher nodded. "Okay, Daniel," she said. "You'll sit with Clara and help her out." Daniel flat out refused. "Sorry, teacher," he said. "I'm allergic to tears." The classroom was silent for a few seconds before it burst into laughter. I smirked. He had a sharp tongue sometimes. The teacher frowned but knew it was just an excuse. As the heir to the Smith group, Daniel wasn't someone you could easily upset, so she just paired her with a girl who seemed kind. After class, Clara approached Daniel, looking like she felt sorry for herself. "Daniel," she said, "I didn't mean to put you in a difficult position earlier. You just looked really familiar, as if we've met before." No wonder my brother in our past life was so charmed by her. She definitely had some tricks up her sleeve. When she was in public, she would make choices that made a guy feel important. If that didn't work, she would act like she needed sympathy. Behind the scenes, most guys would have fallen for it, but not Daniel. He wasn't fooled. Clara's eyes got all teary and she bit her lip. "Daniel," she said, "do you have something against me? Did someone say bad things about me? I grew up in a difficult situation, always looked down on. I just want friends, not to be lonely." Daniel just scoffed. "Maybe you should make friends with girls then," he said. Clara quickly said, "Girls are a hassle. I prefer hanging out with guys. No drama, just good times." Just like that, the classroom filled with sounds of disapproval from the girls. This pretty face was really just a snake in disguise. Daniel gave a cold, knowing smile. "I don't see girls like that," he said. "Except for you, Clara." No matter how tough Clara pretended to be, she couldn't stay there after that. Her face turned red. She went back to her seat and started to cry, but there was no sympathy, just whispers and snickers. "What an ego," someone said. "Does she really think someone like him would ever be interested in her? It's so obvious." "Seriously, who's she kidding? The Smith Group heir is way out of her league." "She says girls are sneaky, but she's the biggest one." "Daniel seems all charming, but who knew he was so good at spotting these kinds of girls?" I rested my chin on my hand, enjoying the show, then laughed. "Daniel," I said, "I've never seen you so sharp-tongued." He opened my thermos for me and gestured for me to drink. "If you don't like someone," he said, "neither do I." I sipped my water, chuckling. "Liar," I said. "You didn't like her anyway." He raised an eyebrow, surprised. "You caught that?" he asked. I blinked. "Why don't you like her?" I asked. After a moment, he said, "Her eyes are full of planning and wanting things." Apparently, the brother I chose was much smarter than the one I didn't have a choice in. Clara started getting ignored. No one talked to her, even when she tried to start conversations. Some girls said mean things to her. "I'm a girl and I'm totally sneaky," one girl said. "Go find a guy." The boys teased her. "We're no match for the Smith heir," they said, referring to Daniel. "Go call him." Normally, she would have kept a low profile and people would have eventually forgiven her, but her way of thinking was strange. During a basketball game, she even tried bringing Daniel some water. "Daniel," she said, "you're so good at basketball." The whole school was watching, and some boys from other classes were encouraging her. It seemed like she was trying to make Daniel feel pressured to be polite, or to get people to feel sorry for her. Many students from other classes didn't know what was going on. Daniel just sneered. "Even if I'm good," he said, "I'm not playing for you. Stop watching." After a few steps, he turned back to say, "I don't know how many good brothers you have, but I'm not one of them. Don't call me that, thanks." Then he walked straight towards me, taking the half-drunk water bottle I was holding. After he drank from it, he handed me the empty bottle. "Are you watching her or me?" he asked. I took the bottle, teasing, "How do you never fall for her tricks?" Daniel laughed. "Do you think all men are fools?" he asked. "She's so obvious, of course she's up to something." Plenty of people fall for it, though, like my brother and parents did in the past. They had seen plenty of things, so they must have known. The only reason they fell for her act was because they thought she mattered more than I did. After the game, Daniel gained quite a few fans, all people who admired him. In the restroom, I acted like I accidentally let it slip that girl from our class is always bothering my brother. He can't stand it. "Why is there a girl who is so bold?" someone said. "No matter how much you reject her, she just keeps going. It's a pain. I sure wish someone would put a stop to it." That afternoon, Clara walked out of the restroom soaking wet. She knew she had made everyone angry, so she didn't dare report it. I'm against bullying and have helped others before, but seeing Clara get what she deserved felt strangely satisfying. After a few weeks, she gave up and stopped bothering Daniel. But then Daniel started having little interactions with Clara again, stirring things up. People kept giving her a hard time until she finally asked to transfer classes, moving to one at the bottom of the academic ladder. Only then did the drama quiet down. In this new class, there was a rich young man named Mark. He was handsome, but known for being a player with women. Seeing her head to the restroom, I casually walked in with some girls. "Mark's pretty cute," I said. "Can you help me see if he's got a girlfriend?" "Wow, our princess is interested," someone said. "He is good looking and has a lot of money. Tough to get, though, but I like the challenge." "Yeah," another girl said. "I like him, too. I think he might be even better than your brother." It didn't take long for Clara and Mark to start dating. She would show him off in front of me every time. I would turn away to hide my laughter, but she thought I was upset, which just made her feel even more important. Soon enough, some revealing pictures of Clara and Mark were being passed around among the guys, but only in small groups. Mark's family originally started their business with entertainment places, so he grew up in that kind of environment and wasn't afraid to do things in a big way. He often got involved in group activities, never saying no, no matter how old the people were, always looking for excitement. As I was checking out some photos, Daniel appeared behind me and snatched my phone, turning red after just a glance. "Why are you looking at this stuff?" he asked. I chuckled. "You want to see it too?" I asked. "Let's take a look together." Once he saw who was in the pictures, Daniel silently handed the phone back. Meanwhile, Clara had had 6 abortions for Mark. The delicate, sad look she once had was gone. Now she smoked, had tattoos, and her skirts were pulled up high on her thighs. She was definitely a rebel now. Daniel and I, on the other hand, were doing extremely well in our studies, always ranking first and second. We were seen as stars by both teachers and other students. Every year, I would throw a birthday party and invite the whole class. It helped us become closer while also letting our parents meet important people for their business. This party was special, marking my coming of age, and even some big names from our social circle showed up. I had a big surprise planned for my parents. "Mom, Dad," I said, "I've been looking everywhere for you." Just as my parents were talking to the important guests, the door burst open. A distressed male voice cried out, "I've finally made it home!" Then he collapsed on the floor, crying his eyes out. With a shaved head, torn clothes, and a nasty scar on his face, he looked rough, and the terrible smell coming off him was unbearable. Everyone quietly stepped back and the soft piano music stopped. My mother looked puzzled. "Who are you?" she asked. My brother looked up, tears and snot streaming down his face, looking pathetic and disgusting. "Mom, Dad," he said. "It's me, Ben, your son. Remember?" He tried to hug my mother, but she instinctively stepped back, covering her nose because of the smell. I looked at him with disgust. "Why do you smell so bad?" I asked. "Are you contagious or something?" I threw his earlier words back at him, just as Clara once had to me. His eyes were bloodshot as he lunged at me. "Alice!" he yelled. "If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have ended up like this." Daniel immediately stepped in, saying coldly, "Don't you dare touch my sister." I peeked from behind Daniel, acting completely innocent. "Brother," I said, "stay away from him. He looks like a criminal who just got out of jail, right?" Everyone took another step back. My brother lost control, flipping tables and shouting angrily, "I was gone for how long? You've already replaced me. This isn't fair. I hate you all." Luckily, security guards rushed in and held him back. However, the party was already ruined, and everyone left looking troubled. By morning, what had happened tonight would be known everywhere. Any business deals my parents were discussing with the important guests were off. My father was furious. "Of all times," he said, "why did he have to come back now, shaming us like this?" My mother rubbed her temples, still bothered by the smell from earlier. "He picked the worst possible time to return," she said. My brother, fresh from a shower, turned red with anger hearing that. "I'm your real son," he said, "and you don't care how I made it home or how I've been living? I've dreamed of coming back to a happy family, and this is what I get?" An 18-year-old crying on the floor. It was hard to imagine what he had been through, but my parents were still embarrassed by him, feeling he was a problem. I saw my father wave him off. "Enough," he said. "A grown man shouldn't be crying about everything. You're home now. Just stay put and don't cause any more trouble." My brother used his sleeve to wipe his face, glaring at Daniel. "Kick him out!" he yelled. "I'm back. Having this stand-in here disgusts me." Before I could speak, my parents both said at the same time, "No way." My brother clenched his fists, veins sticking out on his forehead. "Dad, Mom, I'm your real son." My mother tried to calm him. "We know," she said, "but Daniel has been great with us. Everyone loves him." My father added, "Learn from him." Hearing this, my brother couldn't control himself and tried to punch Daniel, who easily moved out of the way and tripped him because of the sofa. Our parents didn't notice this and thought my brother had just fallen awkwardly. He bled from the nose but didn't get any sympathy, only being scolded. My father snapped, "It's embarrassing. If you keep this up, I'll kick you out." My brother shook with rage but didn't dare do anything else. He realized this wasn't the home he remembered. His parents didn't love him anymore. That night, as they rested, my brother looked at Daniel's big room with anger. "I'm taking this room," he spat. "You can sleep in the guest room." With our parents gone, I stopped pretending and mocked him. "Brother," I said, "you seem unclear about your position here. Since you were taken, Daniel has long replaced you, not just in our parents' affection, but also when it comes to who will inherit everything. Daniel is handsome and talented, not just with schoolwork, but also socially. All the rich kids love hanging out with him, bringing lots of benefits to the company. Do you really think just being related by blood will be better? You better be polite to Daniel, or once Mom and Dad are older, you'll get kicked out and go back to that wonderful life you had." Daniel stood quietly behind me. He didn't say a word, but his presence was intimidating. My brother was furious, wanting to throw a fit and smash things, but he held back, afraid my father would hear and kick him out. He was so angry he could have broken a tooth. "Fine," he said. "You two just wait and see." After Daniel took me back to my room, he asked, "You really hate your brother, huh?" I nodded. Yeah, I said. I want him gone. Daniel looked at me with a complicated expression, but he didn't try to comfort me. I licked my lips. Daniel, I said, don't you think Clara and my brother are a match made in heaven? Daniel thought about it, then nodded. A perfect match, he said. I smirked. My chosen brother never questioned my decisions. With the weather getting colder, the days of Mark's group barely having enough money had come to an end. They had declared bankruptcy, meaning no more fun for Clara with them. When Mark was around, Clara was very confident and bullied a lot of classmates. But now, without her protector, everyone turned on her. I arranged for some people to corner her in an alley and beat her up. Then I showed up as the hero. Naturally, I invited her over to my place. Clara was desperate for someone to help her and didn't refuse me, saying nice things to flatter me. I smiled warmly. What happened in the past is over, I said. Let's be good friends from now on. Clara nodded eagerly, afraid I would change my mind. I gave her a short skirt to wear and sent her to my brother's room to wash up. Since he had just moved in, his room was empty, almost like a guest room. He returned there tired from playing games in the garden. After 5 minutes, it was still quiet inside. I spread my hands. Daniel, I said, you lost. Daniel handed over all his allowance for the month. You know people better than I do, he said. I chuckled. You understand people, I said. I understand beasts. That evening, Clara stayed for dinner, acting like her sweet, innocent self again. With my approval, I told my parents that Clara might not have a great family background, but she studies hard and never gives up. She's got a great personality, and we love spending time with her. Plenty of guys are interested in her, but she's picky. At this, Daniel even offered her some ribs, kindly adding, "These aren't spicy. You can't handle spicy food." Clara was flattered, and my brother's eyes were full of determination. I forced myself to stop smiling. Soon enough, my brother and Clara started dating. My mother and father had their doubts, thinking Clara wasn't good enough for him, but he was determined. He said that true love was all that mattered. He even gave a challenging look to Daniel, who lowered his head, looking sad. This only made my brother more determined. Eventually, my parents gave in. Clara, who had ended pregnancies 6 times before, got pregnant again quickly. My father was thrilled. Good, he said. That's my son. The Smith family has someone to carry on the name. If it's a boy, I'll reward Clara with $1 million. Clara's eyes sparkled immediately. Thank you, Uncle, she said. My mother looked at her belly warmly, clearly happy. I took the opportunity. Since Clara is pregnant, I said, why not have a big wedding and introduce my brother to everyone? They happily agreed and set the wedding for the end of the month. Passing by the study that night, I overheard my parents whispering. Ben is useless out there, my father said. He can't run the family business. Alice is excellent, but she's just a girl. We can't let her run the company. If this kid is a boy, he'll take over. If not, they'll keep trying until they have a boy. Even though it's thanks to Alice that the company is where it is today, she's not a boy. That's just fate. I smirked. Still the same as in my previous life, so focused on having a son. Well, I guess I'll give them another big surprise. My brother and Clara's wedding was planned quickly, but the details were very fancy and expensive. The wedding's really beautiful, I said to Daniel while playing with a small flash drive. Daniel chuckled. And you still plan to ruin it? He asked. Watching my brother challenge me with a raised glass, I lifted my drink, touched it to his from a distance, and took a small sip with a knowing smile. Otherwise, how will they learn? I said. The wedding march music began to play as my brother and Clara walked hand in hand, looking like a fairly handsome couple. Both my parents took turns giving heartfelt speeches that someone else had written, with tears in their eyes. Daniel handed me a piece of white rabbit candy. I chuckled. What for? I asked. I'm not a kid anymore. He pushed it towards my lips. It's sweet, he said, with a playful look. I licked it and blinked. Yep, I said. It's sweet. He pinched my cheek and nudged the candy into my mouth. I rubbed my slightly sore cheek and walked backstage. Once there, I told the staff, go enjoy the reception. I'll handle the rest. They gratefully accepted. As Ben and Clara exchanged rings and kissed, the video that was supposed to show their love story was swapped with one of Clara and Mark on the big screen. Gasps filled the room instantly. Ben and Clara thought everyone was cheering for them, so they got even more into their kiss. Everyone was shouting, "Look behind you! Look behind you!" The two finished their kiss, smiling as they turned around, expecting a surprise from their parents. One second, Clara felt like she was on top of the world. The next, she felt like she was plunged into an icy cold place. Ben's smile froze on his face. He said with a twisted look, "Oh, so you've been lying to me all along?" Clara turned pale, trembling. "Let me explain," she said. Ben punched Clara hard in the face, then kicked her in the stomach. "Tell me," he yelled. "Whose kid are you carrying?" Clara's white dress was instantly stained with blood, her body shaking in pain, unable to make a sound. But Ben was blinded by rage, relentlessly punching and kicking her. Some people in the crowd tried to stop him, but Ben was acting like a madman. Their parents came out from the restroom and rushed to stop it, but Ben shoved them away. Their mother's head hit a pillar, blood gushing out, and she passed out. Their father got punched too, losing a tooth. Not even 4 security guards could control Ben at that point. The police finally arrived and managed to stop him. Ben was taken to the police station, and their parents and Clara went to the hospital. Clara lost the baby, had a broken spine, 8 ribs fractured, and needed 7 hours of surgery. She survived, but would need to stay in bed for the rest of her life, unable to wear regular pants for comfort, living without dignity. The mother had a mild concussion, nothing serious. The father had 2 fake teeth put in. It turned out Ben went crazy from intense emotional shock, but the fact that he had seriously attacked them remained, and he was sentenced to 8 years in prison. I thought my parents would hire the best lawyer to get Ben a shorter sentence, but they acted like he didn't exist anymore. Oh, now that it hurt them, they finally cared. After the college exams, I got the top score in science. Daniel was just 1 point behind me. I grinned widely, but he wasn't upset. After that embarrassing scene at Ben's wedding, my parents were just as proud of me at my college graduation party. They finally realized I was their only pride. After graduation, I took over their company. Initially, I thought of selling it for very little money to ruin my parents' legacy, but it was worth too much, so I kept it, comfortably staying as the CEO. Daniel became a professor. It all happened because during a truth or dare game at a class reunion, they asked what type of guy I liked. I joked, "I like a smart bad boy like a professor." The room erupted in screams. Since then, Daniel wore gold-rimmed glasses, always pairing them with white shirts. It was completely random. Clara went insane because of everything that happened, and I arranged for her to be sent to a mental hospital. Ben had a tough time in prison. I got some big guys to take turns making his life difficult, and he eventually ended his life with a toothbrush. He reportedly died in great pain, mumbling my name, talking about coming back to life and other strange things like that. I was always thinking of a way to deal with my parents without getting my hands dirty, but making them suffer. But they ended up doing it themselves and were hit badly by a truck while driving. I told the truck driver, "I know it wasn't your fault. It's tough for you too, and you don't have insurance on your truck, right?" "Never mind, no need to pay damages. I'll even pay to fix your truck." Everyone called me the most responsible businessman. I turned and told the doctor, "Donate all the usable organs from my parents and also their bodies." I almost told the doctors to save them if they could, but I stopped myself. "Thank you," I said. "Really, thanks so much." I sincerely thanked them for the patience they would save by not trying to save my parents. I accepted all the praise and honors with a smile. They were all deserved. As I stepped out of the hospital, I saw Daniel waving at me from his new sports car. "Today's weather is just perfect," he said.